Hi, my name is Sam McGeorge, CEO of Vigilance, and the team and I put this following canvas together. We find it really helpful prior to a demonstration of Vigilance. It can take you through very quickly the key areas of the compliance regime, the pain points that reporting entities experience, and the ones that we're likely to focus on with your highest interest, probably rated by pain points, and how we can help with the VigilanceAML compliance platform. So let's have a look at the canvas and we'll just talk through some of the key points. Incidentally, we will share this canvas with you as a document as well, so you can read it more in detail at your leisure. Okay, so this is a canvas and we're only going to talk to the very high areas of compliance, and as I said, we'll share this with you, so you only need to wander through these ones with us for now. And down the left hand side we can see we've broken these tasks, these compliance tasks, out by daily task, monthly, annual and biannual. So we're first going to talk about onboarding customers. Everybody is most familiar with that in terms of compliance, and it's broken into 3 areas, which we're going to talk about 2 of them. And we'll start with compliance for customer due diligence. So customer due diligence is very high. The reasons it's very high is because you can't really engage with the client until it's done properly. There's a lot of extra work in onboarding customers now, as opposed to how you would have prior to the regime. It's more risk if you're non-compliant. It's a non-revenue producing activity, which is part of the biggest pain point, because that's eating into your revenue producing activities, this extra time. And there's no one size fits all. There's a lot of onboarding solutions out there, but AML regime is much bigger than just onboarding customers, and it's what flows on the workflow downstream from that. So customer front-facing staff have to do this, and compliance officers, and it's a workflow issue that's usually most problematic about being consistent. Monique, there's risks in not getting this right, obviously.
That's right. Your supervisor might do a spot check and find that you're not compliant, or maybe it won't even be discovered until your biannual audit that you're not complying with doing CDD. If that happens, then you really don't want to have to go back to the beginning and retrospectively complete all the CDD from your customers from possibly 2 years ago.
Right, that clearly would be a big problem and a pain point.
Yes.
So solution to this is to automate the process, which Vigilance provides in multiple ways. And you can also outsource, and Vigilance has a really cool outsourcing feature. Outsourcing is outsourcing to agents. More and more reporting entities are doing it and finding value in it, so that they outsource that revenue producing or that area which is not revenue producing to expert external to the business. Okay, enhanced due diligence, also very high. Slightly different reasons. It's even slower to onboard a customer. Generally, there's a dislike for even asking customers for more personal information about source of wealth, source of funds. And it's obviously very annoying for customers to have to get this information as well. And you probably can't reclaim the cost around that, as opposed to simply onboarding a customer more in an automated way through electronics. Customer-facing staff, again, compliance officers who struggle with the workflow processes around doing this consistently and getting it right. And again, Monique, the risks are pretty much the same, aren't they?
They are. You've got risks for possible brand damage due to fines, warnings and things.
Yep,
so
that's right.
Important to get it right from the start.
Yep, there's been more and more cases coming out now that the DIA are publishing non-compliant organisations, and some fairly significant ones too. Okay, so again, if you can automate these processes reliably, then you're getting consistency. And again, that can be part of outsourcing to an agent. Right, next on the very high pain points for reporting entities is reporting prescribed transactions. Now, this is part and parcel of another high pay point, which is monitoring your trust account. Firstly, you've got to monitor trust account to make sure that you've got transactions being monitored appropriately, and should you have any transactions that are greater than $1,000 cross-border FX in or out of your trust account, then those are going to have to be reported on. So very high pain point because you need a consistent way of identifying them. You have to identify them within 10 days. And it's a big burden for a compliance officer to capture these reliably and then report them. They're reported to GoAML, which is a pretty clunky way to log them online manually. None of the information's saved. So if it's not, there's a high risk involved with that. And Vigilance really streamlines this process down to what could be 30 to 40 minutes down to what, 3 or 4 minutes. Risk again on this, Monique, is pretty significant.
$22,000 per transaction if a PTR is not submitted to GoAML.
Right. Interestingly, we know a lot of businesses aren't focused on this because they're struggling with the previous very high points we've raised. Again, Vigilance automates this, it ticks that box and addresses those issues, so really streamlines that process. Last but not least is the audit, and I guess this is where it all comes together. Unfortunately, in the future, when you get, assuming you don't have a spot check by the DIA, which could happen at any time, you're going to have an audit done in the future. Now, most people have been through an audit, well, everybody should have been through an audit by now, so I'll have a taste of what's required, and I'll highlight some of these other things that we've listed here that need to be addressed as well. And if we just cover off key areas around auditing, while it's only every couple of years, and it could actually go out to 3 years, which generates some problems in itself, it's a lot of preparation, making sure the information is collected. You've probably had a lot of staff changes, including a compliance officer. Is the information stored reliably? Can it be accessed? Is it going to be a smooth audit and the information required for the auditor? So normally the pain point is that you discover the information isn't consistent, it's not stored all in the same place, you've got to go and find it, and it's problematic. Again, certainly not revenue producing activity. Compliance officer falls on their shoulders to get this right. It's a big distraction when it does roll around every couple of years.
And if the audit is not up to scratch and the auditor fails areas, then there's no choice but to fix all the areas that haven't passed. And your annual report will have to report the fact that the audit has failed.
Right, and that becomes a red flag to the DIA, so they can see that you've had a failed audit. More importantly, they want to know that you're doing something about it. So keeping those good records is so important. Vigilance keeps everything in one place, which really streamlines the audit process. Okay, so you'll get a copy of this as well to look through and help raise other questions. This is what you should be looking at in terms of looking at any provider and what they can offer you in their solutions. We certainly tick the box on these other items as well, but those are the ones we wanted to cover off today. So have a look through this and see if it raises any other questions you might want to cover off at the up and coming demo that is scheduled. Thanks for your time. Thanks, Monique.
Thank you.